Hello and welcome back to my channel. My name is Chris, and on today's video we're going to react to a fragrance collection and see what we think about it, so stay tuned. On today's video we're going to review, or not review, but more react to a actual fragrance collection by the owner of the fragrance brand Kayali. I have smelt some of their fragrances and have seen them in stores. None of the notes or fragrances or smells tend to speak to me. That doesn't mean that they're not good or that they're not good quality. It's just they're not for me, and that's okay. But we're going to look at her collection. This is Huda Kattan's sister. So Huda Kattan has her own actual makeup brand. She is an OG, I guess you could say, beauty influencer, and her sister, through that path, was able to really start her own actual fragrance brand. So looking here, without starting the video, it looks like she has, obviously she's plugging her own brand. It is Kayali, and she has a bunch of different, assortment of bottles. There's some Lancome, there is some Loewe, which is very impressive because people typically don't even pay attention to Loewe, unfortunately. We also see some Louis Vuitton, we see some Mancera, we see, what is that? Parfums de Marly, both men and women's. So it's a pretty decent collection. Is that Michael Kors up top? Yeah, I'm not really my cup of tea. They don't smell bad. Michael Kors fragrances are just not for me, but let's get into it to see what her fragrance collection is all about.
To my fragrance library. We're gonna have fun today.
She calls it her fragrance library.
So I started collecting fragrances at the age of 14. When I got my first job, almost all of my money went towards beauty products, and majority of that was fragrances, because to me, fragrances make me feel so many emotions, and I just feel like it's a magical bottle of like moods.
That is very true. I definitely tried to change my fragrance based on my mood, which is something that I've always done. It kind of is a reflection of how I'm feeling, or if I am down and I need to pick me up, I will pick a more vibrant, more happy, more light fragrance. So it is very true that they can reflect your moods, and they are bottles full of moods essentially.
Right now, my fragrance library smells like so many different samples that I'm working on. At a given time, I'm usually testing about 20 to 30 samples. It smells amazing. So my first fragrance was actually this one right over here.
Oh, so she just passed a ton of Joan Malone, it looks like. We have some Jean Paul Gaultier. She's talking about Curve here. I can't see that far, but I mean, she's got... Oh, there's some Scandal from Jean Paul Gaultier.
It is Curve by Liz Claiborne. I'm not gonna lie, I wouldn't repurchase it today if it wasn't for the memories I have associated to this fragrance, because it's not really my style anymore. But when I was 14 and I lived in Dartmouth, Massachusetts, there weren't many options. I had to buy all my perfumes from like CVS Pharmacy. She did good.
I never wore Curve.
My most recent purchase or purchases are all these babies right here. As you guys know, I'm a bit insane when it comes to fragrances, and I think I probably buy about 100 per month. I like to smell them, read the TMD, read about the nose, read about the story behind it before I put them away in my library, because I just want to like make sure I get familiar with it. So I've got a lot of work to do, but yeah, these are my new babies. I love them so much.
Oh, there she's got Baccarat Rouge.
My favorite fragrance in my collection is one of our Kayali fragrances. It's Sweet Diamond, and I love this fragrance for so many reasons. I do love the actual scent so much. It's a beautiful, spicy, sweet, floral fragrance. Just delicious and so long lasting. Like if you want a fragrance that will last all day, this is your girl. And I just love the fragrance too, because this was one of the first ones that I worked on after my therapy journey. So I feel like I was able to go in deeper on the meaning behind it and the storytelling. And this is really ode to feminine energy, which I think everybody has in that. And that's why I called it Sweet Diamond, because I feel like such a paradox. It's like sweet is soft, but diamonds are hard and strong. I feel like feminine energy is that. It's so sweet, but it's so strong too. And pink pepper itself is such an incredible ingredient. It actually creates the same emotion of when you first fall in love when you smell it. So for me, I was just like, oh, this is just going to be such a romantic juice that, you know, I needed in my collection because I'm such a romantic person, and it's definitely one of a kind. Like, it's just super unique. Love her.
Well, she plugged that fragrance, didn't she?
A fragrance that I bought for the bottle and not the scent because I don't really like it so much
There's
is
some
the
Elise
one and
up
only
there.
Chanel number 5.
Oh, cool.
Okay, you
So
guys.
we see some Christian Dior La Collection Privée. We see some Calvin Klein, some Carolina Herrera. She obviously has a Chanel number 5 and some Chanel Les Exclusives there and other Chanel fragrances. A cool thing I'm seeing is that she seems to be a collector of sorts with actual fragrances. So she has Chanel did this limited run of like factory inspired fragrances and fragrance packaging. And that white one that you'll see here in just a second, because I just saw it, is a limited run that is no longer available. Kind of like how they just did the egg with number 5 Low. So, yeah.
See, it has gone down a bit, but this is after
She's
having
got
it for I
quite a
think
few,
10 years.
quite a few
I
of
only
Les
spray it for
Exclusives.
like
Dolce and
testing
Gabbana
purposes and
there.
to like understand the
We have
fragrance
some
more. The scent
Dress
is
and
not so much
Durga, I
me
think
because
that's
it
how you
has
say it.
aldehydes, and I'm not a huge fan of aldehydes. But the bottle itself is stunning. It's a work of art. It's classic. It's iconic. You'll remember it from a mile away. So simple, but so chic at the same time. But I love it, and I even bought the whole
That's what I'm
collection of
talking
this
about.
limited edition packaging, just because if you have a fragrance library, you've got to have.
She's got the body bombs, the bath bombs too.
The most expensive bottle in my collection is actually this one right over here from Bulgari. It's like, I think it's 10 kilos, I'm not kidding. It's almost 10, like it's so heavy. This bottle is insanely luxurious. It looks
Can
like
we just talk about the
like
prices of Bulgari and their actual fragrances? I love the La Gems collection. This is part of the La Gems collection. It seems to be a limited run or a huge bottle of the La Gems collection, which, I mean, come on, who wouldn't want that in their collection if they're a fragrance collector? Their price point is just crazy. And she seems to have some Britney Spears fragrances over here. She's got some Bottega Veneta Parco collection, which, by the way, did you know that Bottega Veneta actually just discontinued all of their fragrances, which is really sad because they make some pretty top-notch stuff. She has some Allegra. I think that's what the collection from Bulgari is called as well. So, I mean, and some Bond number 9 here at the bottom. Some Creed over here, some Carolina Herrera private line, or I think they're called a reserve collection or something like that. So she's got a pretty good collection, I'd say.
it's one of 50, like only 50 bottles were produced in the world. And my sister had got it for me as a present because we were on a trip in London and I was so sick and I was in the hotel almost the whole time and she felt really bad for me. So she surprised me with this. From memory, I think it was like 2,000 pounds, which is insane. I was like, what are you doing? Return it. And then she was like,
oh wow,
you need it for your fragrance library. And I was like, you're actually right. So I'm still grateful you bought it for me. I would have preferred cash, but it's all good. I'm happy I have it. So I decided to launch my own fragrance
must be
brand
nice
for so many reasons. Number one, it's also just really nice to be a perfume love I thought was so beautiful.
I don't care.
I wanted to keep it.
I'm sorry you have to say that. I don't really care behind the story of her brand. So overall, the collection is pretty nice. I mean, the setup is just what I would like. If I could have a library, well, I wouldn't call it a library, but an actual fragrance room like that, then I would be just enthralled or happy. I mean, I would do it in my own actual style, but very beautiful actual layout that she has going on there. I think that she has some pretty good fragrances in her collection. You know, for a fragrance owner, I kind of thought we were going to touch more on, more pricier brands, kind of bringing that into the more mainstream. I think that's what she would do with her fragrance brand, but she didn't. I thought we would see some custom Florist fragrances. If you don't know about Florist, it's a fragrance brand that I actually really have been wanting to try for a long time. They're from London, but they actually make, I believe, the entire royal family's fragrance wardrobe. And the cool thing is that they actually manufacture it specific to what you're looking for, so it's customized to you. Anywho, not a video about them, but I thought I would see something like that in her collection. It seems to be kind of most of the ones that she has in here are going to be things that fragrance influencers would talk about, if that makes any sense, which I don't know, maybe I'm just very anti that. And in my collection, in my actual experience, I want to try things that not everyone's talking about because there are beautiful fragrances out there that people don't talk about, that people don't give the moment or the time of the day. And those brands typically have better quality than some of the ones that we talk about. I know I focus a lot on designer, but I try to focus on designer brands that maybe don't get talked about, like Burberry, Moncler, the Versace Atelier collection. There's a lot of brands that don't get the moment or time of the day, and those tend to have some pretty good fragrances in them. So let me know what your thoughts about this video are. Do you like this type of content? Also, let me know down below in the comments. Don't forget to give the video a thumbs up and subscribe for more fragrance related content. I hope to see you on the next video. Until then, take care. Bye.